Well, it's official. T.I. and Tiny have a huge problem on their hands. And I told y'all this was about to happen. But now, since 50 posted that he's doing the documentary, maybe you believe him. He just posted it this morning. But anybody in the loop knows that T.I. and Tiny have had several allegations of SA.
Things just got real loud in the hip-hop world again. News started flying around that Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent, might be putting together a documentary about the long-running controversy connected to T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris. The rumor alone has people talking heavy online, because when 50 gets involved in something, it rarely stays quiet for long. If you know anything about 50 Cent, you already know the guy doesn't move in silence. He even joked online that people thought he was playing around before his documentary about Sean Diddy Combs came out. Now he's hinting that another serious project could be on the table. According to what he's been teasing, the questions and stories around T.I. and Tiny might soon get a lot more attention from the public. And if this project actually moves forward, things could get complicated fast. The old accusations and debates connected to that situation might pop back into the spotlight, and the internet is already split. Some people think a documentary could bring fresh attention to stories that were never fully explained. Others say it's just another example of 50 Cent doing what he does best, jumping into drama and shaking the room. Either way, the moment his name gets linked to a documentary, the internet starts buzzing like crazy. The whole conversation goes back to accusations that first started making noise years ago. Reports claim that several women stepped forward with allegations involving T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris, describing encounters they say happened between the mid-2000s and the late 2010s. Those claims quickly spread across blogs, social media, and entertainment news, turning the situation into one of the most talked about controversies tied to the couple. Lawyers representing some of the women even asked authorities in different states to review the claims, according to legal filings connected to the situation. The accusations describe troubling scenarios, including claims about substances, pressure, and behavior that the accusers said involved people connected to the couple's circle. Because of the serious nature of those statements, the story kept resurfacing online again and again, with people debating what really happened behind the scenes. At the same time, T.I. and Tiny have firmly denied all wrongdoing from the very beginning. Their legal team has repeatedly pushed back, arguing that the accusations were exaggerated and unfair attempts to bring legal pressure against them. Because of that, the situation has stayed complicated for years. Serious claims on one side, strong denials on the other, and no clear ending to the public debate. Now with talk that 50 Cent could turn the entire saga into a documentary, the spotlight might hit the story all over again. And if that happens, the online conversation could explode even louder. Their attorney, Steve Sato, also spoke out strongly, saying the couple completely rejects the accusations. He stated that the allegations are baseless and unjustified, and added that if authorities review the facts carefully, he believes the investigation would not lead to charges. Sato also argued that the whole situation looked less like a real legal case and more like a pressure campaign aimed at the couple. From the defense side, the claim was that the accusations first started spreading across social media before getting pushed into headlines and entertainment news. According to that view, the goal was to damage T.I. and Tiny's reputation in public while creating pressure behind the scenes. Their legal team made it clear they believed the situation was an attempt to push them into a financial settlement. In other words, they felt the accusations were part of a strategy meant to shake them down for money. That's the stance the defense has continued to repeat whenever the controversy gets brought up again. But on the other side of the story, attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn was calling for authorities to take a much deeper look. Reports say he sent letters asking law enforcement officials to review the allegations involving T.I., whose real name is Clifford Harris Jr., and Tamika Tiny Harris, the singer known from the R&B group Xscape.
Over the past years, and it's just been swept under the rug. So when T.I. made a million songs dogging 50 Cent and his son came out talking about dig his dead mama, you had to be a fool to think 50 wasn't going to expose what's already out there to people who are in the know. And it gets crazier. It's already been known that there are 30 women, at least, that have had allegations in this surviving team.
According to Blackburn, several individuals described troubling experiences that they claimed were connected to the couple and people within their circle. Many of the individuals mentioned in those letters remained anonymous. Blackburn explained that some of them feared retaliation, pointing to T.Y.'s powerful position in the entertainment industry and his well-known past legal issues involving weapons charges. Even with those fears, he said some of the women were still willing to speak directly with investigators if authorities decided to open formal inquiries. The attorney said some of the alleged victims hoped to move forward with criminal cases, but there was a serious obstacle standing in the way. For some of the possible charges connected to the claims, the legal time limits may have already passed. That made the situation even more complicated for anyone trying to push the case forward through the courts. To keep the issue alive, letters requesting investigations were reportedly sent to prosecutors in both Georgia and California. Those requests went out to federal offices as well as local district attorneys, asking them to review the claims carefully. Some offices confirmed they received the letters, while others chose not to make any public comment about the situation. The filings reportedly mentioned several different individuals connected to the accusations. According to those reports, the group included a former military service member, a past assistant, a dancer, and someone who once worked as an intern at T.I.'s recording studio and label, Grand Hustle. Several of them described moments where they believed they had been given substances without their knowledge, before events unfolded that they later described as extremely disturbing. One former Air Force member said she first met the couple at a nightclub in Los Angeles back in 2005. According to her account, she and a friend were invited into a VIP section where T.I. and Tiny were spending time with others that night. She explained that after having drinks, both women suddenly began feeling very sick and disoriented within hours. The woman later said the experience stayed with her for years and had a deep emotional impact on her life. The story has remained one of the many claims that people continue to debate online whenever the controversy resurfaces. However, it's important to point out that T.I. has publicly pushed back against the accusations and strongly rejected any claim of wrongdoing. He has stated more than once that his past encounters were consensual and that the stories being shared don't match his version of events. Because of that, the situation has stayed complicated for years. On one side, there are serious allegations and personal accounts that continue to circulate online. On the other side, there are firm and repeated denials from T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris. The result is an ongoing public debate about what may or may not have happened behind closed doors. T.I. has spoken directly about the accusations several times. He has said clearly that he and Tiny never forced anyone to take substances, never held anyone against their will, and never pressured anyone into situations they did not agree to.
T.I. and Tiny coming. After all my predictions that have come true, even when I said this, you had people saying, oh no, ain't no, that one case got dismissed. It's 30 people out there. You talking about one case that T.I. and Tiny got dismissed because, for one, they allegedly paid the judge off. That was the rumor, but it was released.
From his perspective, the stories spreading across social media and news headlines simply don't reflect reality. For many people watching the situation unfold, those denials are only one part of a much larger story. Now in his 40s, T.I. has experienced one of the more complicated journeys in hip-hop. Early in his career, he faced several legal troubles involving weapons and drug-related cases, moments that put him under serious public scrutiny. Later on, he worked to reshape his public image. Over time, he stepped into roles as a community voice, an activist, and a respected veteran in the rap world. But critics often argue that public reinvention doesn't erase questions from the past. And whenever this topic starts trending again, the internet quickly lights up with speculation. Some observers believe T.I. has tried to stay ahead of the narrative by addressing controversies before they grow even bigger online. Others believe the attention only grows louder when bigger names jump into the conversation. And that's exactly where 50 Cent steps back into the picture. The rapper has built a reputation for moving through drama like it's a chessboard, thinking several moves ahead before he makes his play. Fans often say he watches situations closely, studies the energy around them, and then steps in at the exact moment when the spotlight is at its brightest. So when 50 Cent connects his name to a story or even hints at a documentary idea, people immediately assume he sees major attention coming. That's been his pattern for years. If he's involved, many believe it means the topic already has the potential to explode across the internet. And if a documentary actually happens, the reason people think it could shake everything up is simple: long-form storytelling. Instead of quick headlines, short clips, or messy social media debates, a documentary gives people time to speak and explain their experiences in detail. Individuals could walk through timelines, explain how they met the celebrities involved, and describe events from their own perspective. That type of storytelling can hit audiences much harder than a headline scrolling across a phone screen. When someone walks viewers through where they were, who they were with, and what they say happened during a specific moment, the story can feel far more intense and personal. Supporters of the documentary idea say it could finally put real faces and voices to stories that have mostly lived online as anonymous claims, rumors, and scattered reports. Critics, however, say a project like that could also influence public opinion before every fact is fully examined. Some people worry that once emotional stories are presented on screen, audiences may quickly form strong opinions even while investigations and legal discussions are still ongoing. A big part of that impact comes from emotion. When individuals share difficult experiences publicly,
everybody know. That's telling. That one bar that everybody knows is probably more telling than your mama eating all the box in Atlanta, because T.I. and them been saying, hey, we get freaky. Did what we do. We been right there. Was kind of freaky. But not freaky to the extent that when T.I. had them allegations that him and his wife did made.
Especially stories involving fear, confusion, or long-lasting emotional pain, viewers often react immediately. One powerful interview alone can shift how thousands of people look at a situation almost overnight. At the same time, it's important to remember that these claims remain allegations, not final conclusions. T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris have continued to deny wrongdoing, and their legal team has repeatedly argued that the accusations are exaggerated or completely false. From their side, they maintain that the claims do not reflect reality unless investigators or courts reach a different determination. Because of that, the entire situation continues to play out both in the legal world and in public opinion. Right now, one big question keeps floating around online. If a documentary really does move forward and more voices decide to speak publicly, will it completely change how people view this controversy? Or will it simply add another intense chapter to a story that has already been debated for years? One of the accounts shared a story about two young women who said they were focused on building their futures before the night they described changed everything. According to that account, one woman was studying to become a nurse, while the other hoped to become a doctor someday. They believed they had bright careers ahead of them and were working toward becoming successful women in the medical field when that evening unfolded. According to the account being shared, the two women said they were working at a nightclub when T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris arrived that night. One of the women later described the moment, saying T.I. seemed more distant while Tiny appeared friendly and talkative during the interaction. At the time, she said it didn't seem unusual at all. Celebrities showing up at clubs happens often, and conversations like that can sometimes lead to better tips or attention for performers working the floor. In her version of the story, she said the couple eventually asked if she would come speak with them privately. She explained that she assumed it was just part of the nightlife environment. People working in clubs regularly interact with well-known guests, so she believed it was simply another normal conversation with visitors enjoying the evening. The account then claimed she was offered a drink during the interaction. After some time passed, she said she began feeling strange, far more dizzy and disoriented than she expected. At first, she tried to brush it off, but the sensation reportedly kept getting stronger. In her statement, she explained that the feeling eventually became so overwhelming that she had to sit down. She said the sudden change in how she felt caught her completely off guard. She said people around her tried to comfort her as she struggled to understand what was happening. In her account, she described feeling confused and unable to fully process the situation around her. Later, she said someone told her she would be taken somewhere safe so she could recover. At the time, she believed they were trying to help her get medical attention because she felt extremely sick and disoriented. However, according to her version of events, the situation later moved.
Some females feel uncomfortable. And come to find out, 50 is allegedly, possibly doing a documentary, 20 alleged fleshful assault cases. 20. You see a lot of people saying, man, there 50 go, he coming after another black man. 50 only go at his people. People that say shit like that, you need to watch them motherfuckers, because they sound.
To a hotel room where she says things took a very disturbing turn. She described what followed as a deeply traumatic experience that stayed with her long after that night. Her story is one of several accounts that have circulated over the years whenever this controversy is discussed online. And these are the kinds of stories some observers believe could become the center of a future documentary. If the project that 50 Cent has hinted at ever becomes real, the idea would be to have individuals sit down and share their experiences in their own words. Instead of short headlines or quick social media clips, viewers would hear full timelines, how people met the celebrities involved, where events took place, and how everything unfolded from their perspective. Some commentators believe that if several people told detailed stories publicly, the attention around the situation would grow extremely fast. Others argue that sharing personal accounts in public does not automatically prove wrongdoing. They say audiences should be careful and avoid jumping to conclusions before any legal findings are confirmed. That's what keeps this situation so intense. On one side are individuals sharing personal stories about what they say happened years ago. On the other side, T.I. and Tiny continue to firmly deny the accusations and insist their interactions with others were consensual. If more voices eventually step forward, the public debate around this entire controversy could grow even louder. But until courts or investigators reach clear conclusions, the conversation will likely stay stuck in the same place, caught between allegations, strong denials, and non-stop speculation playing out in front of millions of people online. Every time the topic resurfaces, social media lights up again with debates, opinions, and people trying to piece together what really happened. When you look at the bigger picture, many people online keep pointing to one thing. Whenever 50 Cent gets involved in a situation, things almost never stay quiet for long. The rapper has built a reputation over the years for being extremely calculated when it comes to controversy. Once he locks his attention onto a topic, he tends to keep pushing it forward until the entire internet is talking about it. Longtime hip-hop fans remember just how intense some of his rivalries were during the peak of his career. His feuds with artists like Ja Rule became some of the most talked-about clashes in rap culture. During that era, 50 Cent's dominance in music was impossible to ignore. Projects like The Massacre showed just how powerful his influence was at the time. The album reportedly sold over 1 million copies within just a few days of its release, which shocked the industry and proved how massive his reach had become. Because of that history, many fans believe that whenever 50 Cent connects his name to a story, especially one involving another major celebrity, it can quickly pull huge attention back onto the situation and get the entire internet buzzing again. That's why so many people are watching closely to see whether the rumored documentary about T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris actually turns into a real project. Right now, it's still just talk and speculation, but the possibility alone has already started a lot of conversations across social media and hip-hop forums. Here's the key thing to understand. Opinions on this situation are completely divided. Some people believe the allegations should be examined carefully so that every voice connected to the story has the chance to be heard. They argue that if individuals say they experienced something serious, their accounts deserve to be looked at with attention and respect. Others believe the accusations may not show the full picture and say no conclusion should be made without clear proof.
Like they can be compromised. Would you rather a white man tell you some shit that a black man doing? Would you rather an up-and-coming journalist from Iran to make a documentary about you? Get what I'm saying? I don't give a damn about the messenger. I want to hear the message. If it's 20 assault.
From their perspective, accusations alone shouldn't define someone's reputation without solid evidence to support them. From a commentary standpoint, many people say transparency can sometimes help in situations like this. When someone believes they are being falsely accused, sharing timelines, messages, or other records can sometimes help clear up confusion about what actually happened. At the same time, situations like this can become extremely complicated, especially when the claims go back many years and involve multiple people remembering events differently. That's exactly why many observers say the public should stay cautious and avoid rushing to final judgments. Allegations, interviews, and documentaries can all influence how the public sees a story. But in the end, legal outcomes are what truly determine the facts in situations like this. Until investigators or courts reach clear conclusions, the discussion will likely continue moving through headlines, social media debates, and public opinion. One thing is certain, though, the conversation around this controversy isn't disappearing anytime soon. Old allegations continue to resurface. People keep debating the details online, and now the possibility of a major documentary has added even more attention to the situation. Every time new rumors or updates appear, the hip-hop community starts talking about it all over again. And if something new eventually comes out, whether it's interviews, additional information, or even a full documentary, it could completely change how many people look at this entire story. Sometimes one major release is all it takes to shift the narrative and send the internet into a frenzy. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about everything surrounding this situation? Do you believe things will get even bigger if that rumored documentary actually drops, or do you think the debate will eventually cool down? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who follows hip-hop culture and celebrity news. Your support really helps the channel grow. And before you leave, check out the next video popping up on your screen right now. It dives into another wild celebrity story you definitely don't want to miss.